apocalypse, Mr. Mannheim.
Who are you?
Your new lord and master. You may call me.
They call me Superman. But they call me the Superman lover. Superman never made any money. If I go crazy, then you still call me Superman.
Jack Superman. Everybody.
Superman.
Sucking those guts, lady. Superman is flying by for the finale of Supermanuary. This is Darkseid's Couch, and I'm Mike.
Hey, this is James.
I'm Shée.
Oh boy, that was a great intro, James.
Damn, James.
That was really good.
I still have a couple weeks before this episode actually goes up, so it's not out of the question that I'm going to keep layering shit onto that. I had a guitar out last night at 1 a.m. because I was
Call
going to
in John Williams?
I was going to, thank God everybody writes everything in the key of C major and pretty much at the same tempo because it's pretty easy to move it all together.
Yep.
I had a guitar out last night at 1 a.m. and I almost laid like a hot shit guitar solo over the Mario theme at the end, and then I went, I got to let this go. I got to stop at some point.
Still can.
I might.
Until YouTube tells us we can't.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a problem because there's so much shifting around and everything. They should be okay with that. They gave us
hit
some
us
trouble.
for every single section.
They hit us for Sunshine Superman from
Yes.
Donovan the other week, so that the YouTube version of that had to have a cover on that.
Whatever, it's on the Spotify version, so fuck you. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
Spotify doesn't care.
Do you have a list of the credits there for what songs you used?
Yeah, what do we got in there? We got
I recognize most of them.
we got the Alanis Morissette song called Superman from her, I think her first album that she didn't want anyone to know when she was trying to be a pop idol when she was like 15. I don't think I have them in the right order. I got Goldfinger's Superman and Shée just
Crash
showed
Test
us
Dummies.
Crash Test Dummies Superman. I think Shée just showed us a video of Tony Hawk singing that song with Goldfinger in
Singing, quote.
Anaheim the other day. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. I bet his back and knees really hurt.
Oh,
of
yeah.
course. Oh, God, yes. Let's see. Then there's Eminem's Superman. There's Johnny Guitar Watson's Superman Lover. There is Crash Test Dummies Superman. There's R.E.M's cover of The Clicks' I Am Superman. Of course, Three Doors Down's Kryptonite. Three Doors Down's Kryptonite. Then another Shaq Superman song called Black Superman, not to be confused with Men of Steel, the other song that Shaq wrote about Superman. Then we've got Laurie Anderson's Oh Superman, which merges into a version of the Superman Donner theme with the isolated vocal track from Barbra Streisand's Superman song on top of it. And then we've got a fucked up version of the Mario theme. And then it all crescendos with some timpani rolls and a little reprise of the end of the Donner theme.
Yep.
Nerd.
Very, very cool.
All right, fine. I care about the show.
I'm kidding. It was wonderful. I'm very, very impressed.
I
That was
care
a,
about
it's, a, it's a
Superman.
wonderful crescendo of Supermanuary.
It was. Unlike this book, kind of let us down dramatically.
No, I like this book.
This was really, really shit.
I love this book. It was great.
Well, we've had a whole month of Superman adventures.
Yep.
And we're coming to a really, really disappointing conclusion here after three
Perfect.
wonderful...
Very, very Darkseid's Couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Just to go in
whiffed this
reverse.
ending.
Yeah, definitely.
I disagree with you guys. I think this is like the best way to end it.
Because it's not even that... I'm not even trying to white knight it, because obviously it's problematic.
Yes,
This is a super sexist book. No, I'm not trying to white knight it. It's literally just... It's boring. It's a boring fucking book. Nothing
great.
exciting happens in this one. All right.
I loved everyone's behavior in this book is fantastic.
In theory, yes. Maybe I'm just over the Silver Age shit. Maybe I just can't handle it anymore.
I had a very mean-spirited grin the entire time I was reading this.
Yeah. No, I kept falling asleep like I was at a methadone clinic. This thing sucked.
Right.
This is Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue 5 from 1958. It's got 3 stories in there. We'll get to all of them as we go. The cover is a Kurt Swan / Stan Kyle cover. Kurt Swan has been involved in every book we've looked at this month.
All right. Look at that guy.
MVP.
Silver Age MVP.
Excuse me.
We did Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane once before in episode 107, and we looked at issue 57.
I don't even remember. What'd she do?
Yes, we did. What was that one? Oh, that was when Super Baby. She was the super babysitter, and Superman was a baby.
Yeah, right.
See, it's the same dumb shit. It's the same dumb shit.
Is that when her and Lana act really inappropriate in order to
Yeah.
influence him?
Yeah, they try to
Yes.
brainwash baby Superman into giving him that dick.
Yeah,
When
seriously.
they figured if they were a
Like
better,
the fucking movie Big.
they figured if one of them was a better mother to baby Superman, then when they got Superman into adult size again, he would love that person more.
That episode is so old. The term grooming wasn't even used yet.
Yeah. That was 2000. That was 2020. That was shortly into the pandemic. It was one of our first Zoom episodes.
All right.
So I'll recap from there. One thing that I did throw in at that episode. This book ran from 1958. This is 1958 we're looking at, actually. So it's the first year. This ran from 1958 to 1974. 137 issues plus 2 specials of this.
Yeah, the writers of the Lois Lane books don't respect women and Lois Lane specifically.
Or readers. Wiki says that at the peak of its popularity in 1962, Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane was the 3rd best-selling comic in the United States behind only Superman and Superboy.
Oh, good for Superman.
Shit.
Taking over.
He took over everything. We also quibbled a little bit over the title and whether or not she was actually his girlfriend or whatever. And then I realized, oh, it's not Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. It's Superman's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear.
It's his female friend.
Yes.
Is that meant to be like a play on it, or is
I
that
don't
by
know.
chance? Do you think it was do you think they were smart enough to have meant it the wink wink?
To think about, like, you could read it either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone thought much about anything here. Like,
Yeah,
this
Superman's pathetic girlfriend, Lois Lane.
So yeah, this was a book that basically everyone in Superman's life. Jimmy Olsen had his own comic book as well, and it ran for a long time.
Yeah, but he was
And-
doing fucking awesome shit in his.
well because he was a boy, so they could like give him actual adventures. But Lois Lane, they had to treat her as just a damsel who was constantly trying to get Superman to fall in love with her.
Jimmy Olsen was in space motorcycle gangs making John
Yeah.
Waters movies.
Yes, yeah, that was when Kirby took over and said, you know what, this isn't insane enough.
I agree. That's how I feel about comics. Is it insane enough?
I don't.
The answer is no.
And you know
never.
what? I'll say this book was not insane enough, and if it had been,
No, it needed more. It needed some more fucked up shit. Although there was plenty of fucked up shit in this book.
there was,
Yeah.
but it didn't take off. It didn't take off for me. There's no there, they say.
It's just a great deal of cancellations in this book.
Well, I guess let's take a look at this cover here, which I guess is the reason Mike even picked this thing in the first place.
I look at the covers, I see what's gonna lead to jokes, and I hope for the best.
So we got Lois Lane, and she's put on a tremendous amount of weight, or at least for 1950
really.
standards. Not for 1950 standards, they're treating it like a tremendous amount of weight. Yes.
It just looks like she got really into powerlifting. She's got that Gorilla Grodd pre-workout.
Yeah, she's got a nice wide lat spread. She's just looking firm and strong and powerful.
Yeah, she's doing those sumo deadlifts.
And she's looking at herself in a hall of mirrors, and she's seeing how she used to look all thin, and she's envious and sad about that. And there's just Superman creeping around the corner, perving on her.
Yeah, it's perfect on her, and it looks like she's wearing white gloves, but it's not white gloves. It's the weightlifting chalk.
She just puts her whole fist in there.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
That mirror is actually in the CrossFit studio.
Yeah, they're in the gym right now. That's the mirror.
She's like flipping that giant tire.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a thing where they would put like fake mirrors in the gyms to make you look better than you actually looked? Do you feel better?
No.
That probably happened. Should have.
Yeah, I
happened.
would. Yeah, I don't
The
know
pe-
of it
no,
happening, but
no,
it makes
people
total
who,
sense.
People who go to those gyms would freak out if that was the case.
I mean, there's a lot of gyms nowadays that are designed to be. They're not for people who go to the gyms all the time, like Curves.
They give you flattering mirrors though at department stores.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
They do
But terrible
absolutely do
lighting.
that. Yeah, terrible lighting, right? I can't
Yeah,
even, I
get
can't
this
even
figured
trick
out.
myself into thinking I have a good physique.
Yeah, we need to get a 3-point lighting kit in there at Kohl's. Expect me to buy this V-neck without being able to see how it looks from the side?
Yeah, I gotta
Stupid.
I gotta go train with Lois Lane more.
Yeah. All
James,
right.
you're a tall person. Can you see
Yeah,
over the
thank you.
tops of the dressing rooms, or are they high enough to
It
cover?
depends on the dressing room. You asked this question similarly. You asked a
With
similar
the
question
stalls, yeah.
about the stalls, and I can see over the
They're
bathroom
different
stalls.
heights.
They are different heights, but there's a little bit more uniformity to that because you need to be able, if you're a cop or something coming in, you need to be able to kind of like see above and everything, I guess. But the dressing rooms, yeah, they're different. But yeah, sometimes absolutely I can. Sometimes they go straight up to the wall.
I have a fucked up meme I'm going to make for this.
Great. I'm
Is it
glad
about James?
Yeah, it's
took a
gonna be
moment for
it's gonna
this.
be me trying to poop and James is looking over the stall.
Superman's shadow looks far more nefarious than his real self. I don't know what's going on there.
He's got a Venom symbiote.
Yeah, just creeping along the wall. Cool. All right, well, let's get into it, I guess. We got plenty to do here. This first story is called Superman's Greatest Sacrifice, written by Robert Bernstein, art by Kurt Schaffenberger. And, that's kind of all you need to know about this. It's super sexist. It seems that in the 50s, Superman spent a lot less time fighting crime and a lot more time just kind of farting around.
Yeah, he doesn't go to his job.
He doesn't go to his job. Anytime you've got like a mall opening or anything, he's there. Like, just give him a call.
And Lois Lane doesn't do her job.
Nope.
Yeah. Nobody's really doing it. Nobody worked that hard in the 50s.
Perry White's like trying to get her to do her job.
Perry White wants her to do... Now, throughout the course of this book, we'll see that the Daily Planet is a baffling newspaper. And I don't understand what they're even trying to accomplish.
It's like they deserve to fail.
They shoot themselves in the foot quite a bit. They don't seem to know their audience. We'll get into all that. So in this story, we see that Superman is preparing to get rid of his powers because he's in love with a woman that looks like Lois Lane.
This is the second time in Supermanuary where Superman straps himself in and wears like a head thing with like 4 springs coming out of it.
Well, he needs intense stimulation to feel anything.
Do you think he just kept around that potato kryptonite machine?
Yeah.
That fries him?
Well, this is earlier, so this is the proto version of this. This wasn't powerful enough.
You know, we
Not
later
enough
learn,
potassium.
not spoilers, we later learn that that's not actually Superman. That means that this fraud just made this bizarre contraption.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions opened up by this story that are not answered.
Oh, let me answer those questions for you right now, Shée. They didn't think about it at all. Because they're massive plot holes that don't make any sense.
Yeah, there's one massive plot. There's one massive plot hole that I wanted to bring up because I thought maybe I misread the comic.
I don't think you did, but
I think
let's see.
the writers of this they're like, okay, what are the most popular comics we got right now? Oh, Superman, of course. Well, then we need to make one for girls. We're only getting 50% of the market. Oh, okay. So like,
Except this isn't written towards girls.
it's like, well, how do we write for girls? I don't know, man. What do you know about girls? I know that they're easily tricked and crazy.
They don't value their jobs, apparently.
Right? That's why they don't belong in the workplace.
Go off
And the
on some
worst thing
random
in the
adventure.
world to happen to them is to put on weight. The worst thing.
I agree with that, but for myself.
Yeah,
I'm
we're gonna get
I'm self-fat phobic.
I am really not looking forward to the last story, which is the title story that with Lois putting on weight. I'm really not looking forward to this.
I am very much.
I'm putting it off. I'm hoping that we just run out of Zoom recording space.
Yeah, we run out of the tape.
Yep, I've been spooling it up on the reel-to-reel, and I'm running real low.
He's been reusing the same cassette.
Yeah, it's getting real thin. That shit's about to snap. So in this story, Perry White gives Lois Lane an assignment, and she's baffled because this has never happened before.
He's like, "Hey, go take a photo of a private citizen that wants to be left alone."
So there's this private citizen, Dolores Drake. She's the world's richest girl, Perry White's words, not mine. And he says she's never been photographed out of their veil, so why don't you sneak into her house and get some photos?
And she just happens to live there.
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, that's not my job."
It's bizarre, but okay.
She's like, "Why would I do that? I'm not a tabloid reporter."
Again, what I thought the Daily Planet was a hard news newspaper. Not a weird tabloid, not an advice column.
I guess it's got what's the name of that famous tabloid in LA? They have a TV show.
Oh, TMZ?
TMZ, yeah, she's working for TMZ.
Yeah, the TMZ. Yeah, it's a 300-page newspaper that they put out every single day.
What does TMZ stand for?
Tasmanian Devil?
All right.
No, I don't remember what Shée, what does TMZ stand for?
No clue.
Oh, well, we got to find out.
All right, let's find out
What does TMZ stand for? 30-mile zone originated in the 1960s when, due to the growth of location shoots, studios established a 30-mile zone to monitor rules for
I
filming in Hollywood.
Okay, because it's a celebrity tabloid. Okay.
Which is funny because they get right in their faces.
Yeah, they do.
Kind of rude.
Yeah.
They also do a weird thing I've seen on TMZ where they rather than use just regular periods at the end of sentences, they'll do ellipses. And it's very confusing. I don't understand what they're doing there.
Maybe they're just like saying ellipse.
Grammar is questionable over there. So Lois Lane goes to this mansion that Dolores Drake lives at, and she's figuring, how am I going to get in? How am I going to sneak into this place? And then they just go ahead and let her in.
Which is good because she was about to rev up her car and drive through the gate.
Yeah, that's how you do things in comics.
She's
like,
a
that's how you.
dedicated journalist.
She's like, I got to work twice as hard as any man
Well, I gotta drive twice as fast as any man.
to get past these gates.
Well, this was a girls' comic, so they weren't allowed to do any adventuring like that.
This gate represents the glass ceiling.
It is interesting because if this was a Superman comic, yeah, you would just burst right through.
Yeah, and then
Like, 'cause
never
only-
apologized.
Only men are allowed to burst right through. So they let her in, and the doorman says, "Oh yeah, sorry to keep you waiting." And Lois seems to recognize this guy, but she can't figure where from.
Mm-hmm.
So they let Lois right into the mansion. They let her have her way with things, and then we see why Dolores Drake is a dead ringer for Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm. Did the same haircut and everything.
Which, well, that was the haircut in 1958, though. That was
So
the one you could get.
So she whips out the blow and they do some lines.
They have a good time. They bond. They drink tea out of tiny little cups, you know?
She's like, you ever been fat as shit? She's like, not yet, wink.
About 15 pages from now. So they bond and everything, and Lois says, well, I would feel bad taking pictures of you, so I'm just going to leave. I feel bad about this thing. I'm just going to go.
She's like, all right, I'm going to steal your camera first.
Yeah, she leaves her camera behind, so Dolores says, well, you
great
know what?
job, reporter.
Yeah, really, not on top of this. No, what? She botched her first assignment.
Right,
The
why
first time
she...
Perry White trusts her with anything.
Right. She's a huge liability.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's just going to blame it on her period.
Well, we'll see in a few years. She's going to get that big $10 a week raise.
Mm-hmm.
Twice as much as Jimmy got.
Yeah.
Yep. Idiot.
Way more than Clark Kent got.
Yeah, Clark didn't get shit.
Because he's
Loser.
never at work.
He's always out going to some Chipotle opening or something.
Like, what is he, like...
Christening a new Ferris wheel. What the fuck are you doing, Superman?
That's why he always put his giant picture next to his articles, because like they're so few and far between. He wanted people to remember him.
All his articles are only like 30 words long. I gotta put
Mostly a
another
photo
giant
of him.
picture in there.
Definitely not Superman.
I need to really pad out this article. You got any more giant pictures of me? So Dolores decides she's going to return this camera herself. She's going to go out in public without her veil for the first time ever.
And she's like, oh, don't do that. You're busted.
28. In the late 50s, that's a death sentence.
Right, you make more than every man. Who would want you?
So she goes to the Daily Planet's office to return the camera, and then wouldn't you know it, Superman shows up and starts complimenting her.
Because he just walks around.
He's just hanging out at the Daily Planet all the time. He's there more than Clark.
Right. Which is
Because
suspicious.
yeah. But so he shows up, starts flirting with fake Lois,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then immediately flies into real Lois's window and calls her essentially an ugly bitch.
Right. So he takes Dolores out on a date. Lois sees this and she's hurt, and so she's daydreaming about, Superman marrying Dolores because he thinks that she's Lois. And then the real Superman does come in and see her, and yeah, he just completely negs her.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, why are you bitching at me?
Yeah.
Like, he flew into her window and he's mad about her attitude.
Yep.
And the shittier Superman gets, the more Chadley he acts, the bigger his chin grows.
That's right.
Agreed.
That's how that works. That's how you
It's
do
like
that,
a
men.
Pinocchio story.
Yes. He says, these are real captions from what Superman is saying to Lois in this book. What are you so hurt about? I don't always have the time to play the gallant with you. Besides, you seem rather different today.
Right? And she's just like, oh, I could scratch his eyes out, but she doesn't stop wanting him.
She doesn't. She wants him more now.
Yeah, exactly. If anything,
Now-
she wants him even more.
First plot hole. We'll find out later that the Superman that's been seeing Dolores isn't actually Superman. No. So when the real Superman just now tells Lois, you seem different than when we had our last date, what's he talking about? That wasn't either of them.
What if that was him and he did take her out?
Oh, this whole thing's a work by Superman. It's really
yeah,
gone.
right. What if all this is just like he wanted to fuck two chicks?
This is just his weird Andrew Tate scheme that he's been working on.
Yeah. We'll never see that guy again.
Nope, he's gone for good for sure.
They just sold all his cars to pay his victims.
I mean, look, I really hope that the guy goes down really hard, but I have a feeling by the time this episode comes out, he's going to be doing fine. He's going to be released. He's going to be on the top of the world. He's going to be running for president.
No. No.
I'm not saying I want these things to happen. I'm saying like this is the way it seems to be when they can't find hard evidence on these things.
I thought all that was a work. I thought he was playing a character. That just to be on YouTube and get YouTube views.
I'm sure to a certain extent it is bullshit. I'm sure he has not slept with as many women, or they don't find him as attractive. I'm sure there's definitely some caveats to it, but
I didn't think he was a real guy. I thought it was just a fake name and he was just playing a character.
AI generated guy.
I thought it was a gimmick.
That's yeah.
Like bro science.
Yeah.
Like bro science. I just thought it was like that.
Nope. I do think he's using bro science to sell a dream to a bunch of incel dorks, but I do think he's actually was living that life to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like lying about what people like sleeping with women and all that shit, that's expected. But he's actually living the lifestyle while also having those false beliefs. That's the part that's fucked up and scary and one of the wonderful pitfalls of the internet.
Yeah. May it live for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Forever along the grid lasts.
Yep. Superman's also got a very tiny cape in the 50s.
Yeah, I like that better.
Tiny cape. You like the tiny cape? I don't know about that.
Yeah. The big cape doesn't make any sense. What is he, like, wrapping it around himself and taking naps?
Big cape's going to get caught in his bike spokes.
Like, Batman's made sense because it was to make him look bigger, I guess.
Well, I think it hide a lot of things in there. Morbius had it to hide his wallet.
Yeah.
He had a little pocket in there.
Yeah, a little pocket with his wallet.
Yeah.
His Morbius credit card.
So Lois is understandably very upset about this whole thing. And then she sees Superman once again out with Dolores, who is still pretending to be Lois Lane. They're having a great time again.
And she's
purposely now.
And she's wearing a kite for a hat.
Yeah, or a mortarboard. She just got her high school equivalency degree. I'm going to go out.
The richest, most successful guy I know got a GED because he never finished high school.
Wow. Why did he get the GED?
I don't know.
All right.
Actually, I don't know if he even did that. I just know he never finished high school, but he's the most successful person I know.
How do you measure success?
Money.
Ah, yeah. The ultimate measurement.
Yeah, I mean, well, how else do you measure it?
Yeah. Well, height and money.
He's also super tall. He's taller than you.
Well, shit. Well, I'm gonna need some numbers. I'm gonna need an address. I'm gonna have to deal with this. I can take this guy down.
He's so successful,
How successful is successful?
More successful than you.
I'm gonna need hard numbers. Hard numbers.
How about this? Take this boring conversation off air.
No, this is a fascinating conversation. So
James needs to know who he needs to have imaginary revenge against.
Yeah, that's how I need to know my enemies.
I'm so glad I'm of a more average height, so I don't have to compete with the Chads.
Yeah, can't win, don't try.
Yep, there's me. That's my life to a T right there.
So the real Lois decides she's going to get Superman's attention by attempting to kill herself.
Yeah, but it's too late. He already drove off with the rich lady in a cab.
Okay, yes. It's a lot of puzzling things here. So yes, first of all, Lois says she's going to climb to the top of this building and throw herself off so that Superman will be forced to save her. And then luckily she happened to realize that Superman's already left.
But you can see in the background that the real Superman's flying around.
This is very confusing. Yes, Superman did get in a taxi cab and drive off with Dolores. Meanwhile, the real Superman, we'll find out there are actually two of them again. The real Superman's off in the background flying around, probably going to some sort of like bake sale or something.
Lois is losing her mind about this guy.
It is the greatest man who ever lived.
Right? You got to compete.
Yeah. She's got to step it up.
Right? That's why she joined that gym and started powerlifting so she can try to be as strong as him.
Be like the sidekick, for sure. She also says, I think it's in this, I'll get Superman off alone too. That's what Lois says. That's what she thinks to herself. I'll get Superman off alone too.
She does everything in this comic book except just tell Superman that she likes him.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you can't. It's the 50s. That's almost as bad as having glasses.
Oh my God!
You really want to have your?
That's still bad now.
Everybody.
I hate having glasses. I hate it.
Oh, you mean having glasses in general? I thought you meant women being unattractive because of glasses.
Oh, no,
I take
that's
back my
not-
fuck you.
No,
I take
That's
it back.
not true.
That's a
That's
whole
why I
thing.
screamed fuck you.
Oh, no.
Both as a woman with glasses and a
Oh,
woman
no.
who is attracted to women with glasses.
That's
Yeah.
a sexy thing for ladies to do.
LASIK has been the worst thing for a very specific niche.
I guess that doesn't work, though. The LASIK, it wears off after a while.
Well, I think after like 10 or 20 years, you got to get it again. But by that point, things are evolved further along. Like it used to be back in the day, they literally lasered the top of the lens of your eye off. Like they did
Nope.
like a flap. They don't do that anymore.
Nope.
They don't have to do it anymore. It's completely non-invasive now. So in another 10 years, it's just gonna be a pill. It's
I
gonna
just
be a
want a
pill.
stem cell pill that like comes from. It has like it's in a pill bottle. It says it fixes your eyes, and I just
Get
want to pop
working.
one, and it works forever.
Get working on the stem cells, science.
Right.
Let it happen, FDA.
Yeah. What the fuck?
God damn it.
It works.
It does work. We got to get off this puritanical bullshit and start doing stem cells.
I think it's just because they don't the insurance and medical industries don't want to compete with a cure-all. Like there goes their business.
I don't know. I think it also has something to do with righty religious people thinking it's not
I
acceptable.
think they
to
use that
stem
as an
cells.
excuse because they don't want to just say like, yeah, it'll cut into our bottom line, which
Or-
people would be outraged by.
Or they're trying to save all the stem cells because the lizards eat them.
Yep. There's probably lizard people. I'm like 35% sure there are lizard people ruling.
You've
the
gone
world.
back and forth over the possibility of lizard people, but you've never ruled it out.
Yeah, because like it would make sense.
Yeah, it's the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I'm a person, right? And you're a person, and Shay's a person.
Well,
and we
I
don't
don't mean
go
to brag.
around like enriching ourselves through the misery of others, right?
I don't know that that's true. I mean, we certainly don't do it consciously or willfully, but I
Well, we're
think we
trapped
kind
in a
of know.
system that forces us to,
Right.
live off the slavery of the third world. But that was created by lizard people,
I mean,
allegedly.
but that's also maybe just a convenient way to get out of feeling like you are a participant in this. Like, oh, it's just
I didn't
lizards
vote
did
for it. I didn't ask for this. And, and
Right.
as you know, James, I participate as little as possible.
That is true. You're
Yeah,
barely a
that
member
is-
of society.
Yeah, Mike just kind of live.
I'm not even
what
sure
he
that he has a
says.
social security number.
You know what? I haven't used it in so long.
I think there's a 4 in there.
I don't have a credit score. I don't have one. I tried, and then it turns out how you build credit wasn't what I thought it was. I thought it was just like you get a credit card, you pay it off every month, right? Or you get a loan for a car and you pay it off every month, right?
Those are ways to build credit, yes.
No, it turns out you have to let it accumulate interest in order to build credit. You can't just like pay it off and not accumulate any interest at all. The credit industry calls people like me moochers.
Well, both of those things, I believe, will build your credit.
It does not. I checked.
I don't know. My credit score is over 800, and I don't carry any debt. I instantly pay everything off.
I thought that's how you did it, and then they told me like, well, you're not letting it accumulate any interest. I'm like, yeah, why would I do that? I got to pay more. Like, well, that's how you get a credit score. I'm like, well, I will never fucking do that.
I mean, the only things I ever had interest on were my car and my student loans. Those are the only things I ever paid interest on in any credit card
They could
whatsoever.
suck my dick. That whole thing was like made up in like the late 80s. That's not even a long-standing institution. They just made up credit score one day.
Now, I like this panel because Superman, the real Superman, shows up, sweeps Lois away, and when she asks why he's acting so erratically, he says, "If I'm different than usual, maybe it's due to your mood. Can't I be silent without your acting insulted?" Now, the thing I want to note here, as we'll see at the end of the story,
Yes, thank you.
when I'm reading these things, because this happens a lot in Superman comics, and it's always he's gotta convince her that something's up for some reason, or he's been influenced by kryptonite or something like that. We find out at the end of this issue that it has nothing to do with anything. He was completely in his right mind. He wasn't working a scheme. He just was sick of Lois's shit.
Yeah, she's just been so like frigid with him. This guy's not getting laid.
God damn it, can't I just have one moment to myself?
He's just like, listen, you're not my girlfriend. You've made that very clear.
The title of your book makes it very clear. There's
Yeah,
clearly a gap between girl and friend.
And there is my name above yours.
Oh, God, your name is above Lois's, even in her book.
Yeah, this is her comic in name only. And not even that, because his name's above hers.
Superman's in as many panels as Lois. He's not even a co-star. He's kind of the lead of the book.
What about
Absolutely.
what about Superman's pal? Is his name above Jimmy's?
I believe it's part of the same thing.
Or is it Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal?
Let's look at Jimmy.
Yeah, but Jimmy Olsen is really small, like in
Superman's
If I Did It.
comic.
Let's find out.
Let's see.
Oh, look
random
how
cover.
big Jimmy Olsen's name is, though.
Yeah, I get. Well, that's about the same as with Lois.
We should
Lane.
put this book right here on the wheel.
I'll solve this case without Superman's help. It's
He's
Jimmy
just
Olsen.
he's got a silly mustache. That's all I need.
The boy of 100 faces. Yeah.
That's it. Because then for YouTube, I could just put that mustache on every character.
Yep, and we're done. And we're done. Oh, I also want to note in this story that it turns out there are two separate Supermans, and there's two Loises. There's a real Lois and someone playing a fake Lois. So the fake Lois and the fake Superman are going off on dates together, but neither of them know anything about the lives of the person that the other person thinks they are. So
Yeah,
what
so
are they
like
doing on their dates?
They're pretending that they know, and they're agreeing because the other person doesn't know.
Because they just don't want to be called out on it. Also known as how I get through my workday.
Maybe they just go and see a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Like Clark Kent isn't going to work, and Superman isn't saving anybody. So Superman in his off hours is going to like circuses and performing feats of strength.
Yes, it's really bizarre. Yeah, he's at the circus seemingly just for nobody else but Lois. She's the only one in the crowd, and
he's
just
talking
fucking
shit to
around.
her. He's doing all
fucking
this
around.
stuff
Yeah.
in front of her, and he's just like, "Will you shut up?"
He says, "What am I supposed to do? Keep a radiance chart to see how radiant you are every day? What's come over you, Lois? I'm sick of your
Base
shit."
fucking Superman, really? He is not simping.
It's working though. She just loves him more and more.
Like,
Like with every page, like, she's becoming obsessed. She's stalking him now. Now notice this. Earlier in the story, she was accidentally running into them. Now, after being negged so hard by Superman, she's actively stalking them.
well, she only wants him because some other chick wants him.
I know what that's like.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that works both ways. That is
Dude.
not a gender exclusive thing.
Dude, adult relationships are so fucking complicated.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Terrible.
I aged out.
Just terrible. Yeah, wrap up those relationships, people. This is the year. 2023 is the year to wrap up all your relationships.
Yep, my head's looking more and more like a shaved ball sack.
Get done with it. You don't need it. It's not going to help you.
I don't make enough money to like overcome all that.
So Lois sees that Dolores is talking to Superman, and Dolores confesses that she's not actually Lois Lane. And Superman goes, "Oh, well, that's fine. I don't really care.
He's like, I don't care. You got money though, yeah.
You're rich, and you look exactly like the woman I was thinking about dating anyway. Who cares?"
Except younger and prettier.
Yes.
And you have eyebrows, unlike Lois.
Oh wow, does Lois not have eyebrows on some of these?
I mean,
Weird.
this panel right. No, next page. Yeah,
they-
no eyebrows.
Yeah, they forgot her eyebrows there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
paint
what
it
if she was
on.
like her eyebrows are fake and she put her hands over her face like to cry and she pulled them away, her eyebrows came off.
I think she cried them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Superman goes, "You know what? I don't care about any of that. I tell you what, I can't get married right now because the criminals, they would go after you. But if I get rid of my superpowers, then I can marry you because then the criminals aren't going to care about me."
So this is how we know it's a fake Superman, because he doesn't realize that Superman has a secret identity.
That's true. He doesn't realize that Superman, which was a public thing, is that the assumption was Superman, since he doesn't wear a mask, because he's out in broad daylight, since he talks to everybody, he doesn't have a secret identity. He just is Superman,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good disguise.
And this guy doesn't know that there's a Clark Kent.
Yeah, and
So
neither
that's
does
why
Lois.
that's why that's his logic. But the real Superman's like, I'm just not marrying Lois because getting married's for simps.
Well, and the real Superman wouldn't get rid of his powers because no man's going to lose his gains.
No,
gonna
fuck
give those
no,
up.
bro.
Okay,
Fuck no.
so the man punches the wall and
For no
breaks
reason.
it. We later find out this man has no powers.
Oh,
he is
yeah.
a fake Superman. He does so much shit as Superman, and then they say, "Oh yeah, no, he was fake," and they never address
Yeah, you're right.
it.
He punches a hole in a brick wall without even thinking about it, but it's not Superman. It's just some guy.
I assume that they had that set up for the scam, and I just didn't read it well.
It's not mentioned. I
I
truly...
went back and reread it so that I could see that I wasn't crazy.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's in this panel, it's the real Superman, and he's just fucking being a dick.
And Mike's right. He's just wanting to date both women.
I mean, Mike's theory is that this was one guy all along. This was the real Superman the entire time. And this is
having a
all
good
a meta
time.
work. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's
He's
see how
from
it progresses.
Krypton. His motivations will be baffling to
He's
us,
so bored by humans.
right?
He's constantly looking for something to do.
He's like, I'm going to date 2 chicks that look exactly the same and pit them against each other.
Why not? That's what I'll do for a couple of years, and I'll move on to something else. I'm going to live for 5,000 years.
And he can just sit back and watch with his telescopic vision.
Yeah, he's having a great time. So, this fake Superman, real Superman, fake Superman, decides he's going to get rid of his powers like the next day, and Lois is devastated about this.
Right? Because that's the only reason she likes him.
Yep. So Lois, continuing to just stalk these people, sees Superman strap himself into this giant electric chair, put on his potato helmet, and he's all set to have his powers eradicated.
That is the only reason she likes him. Because she works alongside Clark Kent, who looks exactly like him, has the
Right.
exact same physique, and she is not interested in him one bit.
Well, but in fairness, Clark is acting like a meek little boy.
You know, they only do that sometimes.
Yeah, it does turn on and off. Well, also, I'll throw this in there, though. He's wearing glasses.
Yep.
So that might be the main thing. That's they don't have LASIK yet, so nobody's going to marry Clark Kent.
I just think that she just is only interested in powerful men.
I mean, so am I. Let's be honest.
I mean, so a lot. Hey, hypergamy, right? The 1% of guys are having sex with like 99% of the women.
Yep. So,
Like
Lois,
God intended.
So this apparently works, and apparently Superman has been depowered. Lois is upset. She goes back to the Daily Planet office. Now, this is an odd thing. So Perry White hands Lois a newspaper and says, "Hold it, Lois. Whatever story you've got on Dolores Drake can wait. Right now, get back to the Drake home to cover this tip our waterfront reporter picked up about Dolores Drake's mansion being robbed or planning to be robbed." Why is this in the newspaper?
Look at how we can see that Lois is very much. We're making fun of her in this story about her not doing her job. She like even though she's devastated that Superman removed his powers so he can marry a woman who looks just like her, her first thought is her own career, of how she could turn this into a win for her.
Well, she might as well. What's she got to lose at this point?
She's like, what a great story with the byline that says Lois Lane.
This is the best thing she's done so far.
Her head's held high. She's choking back them tears.
Look, I'm not letting this go. So apparently this guy had a lead, called Perry White, said, "I've got this lead about a potential robbery." Perry White said, "Great, I'll put Lois on it, but I'll print it in the paper and then hand the paper to Lois so she can read the leak and then run out and handle this robbery that's in progress."
Yeah, and it's not like it is the newspaper because there's an ad on the back of it.
Yeah, he sold ad space on a newspaper that was just printing what some random reporter called him and told him.
Yeah, and just for Lois.
Yeah. How long is this robbery going to take? They printed up a whole newspaper.
This is a poorly
Stupid.
thought out story.
Oh, it's almost like it's bad.
Well, didn't newspapers used to have morning and evening edition?
Sure.
But this is like, I guess, no, it just seems like, but if the story's already there,
Yeah.
why is he sending out Lois to cover it?
And why are they still robbing? Somebody would have probably said, "Hey guys, you know how we were planning to
this
rob
is
that
what
mansion?
Yeah, this is what happens on the TV, not what happens in newspapers.
Our whole plot is on the newspaper right now."
Are we to assume he's just blowing smoke in everyone's face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like Barry White is just constantly smoking this gigantic cigar.
It's a power move.
And he's just like sucking in that smoke and blowing it out,
Yeah.
shoving newspapers into his lady reporter faces.
It's a manly power move. That's right.
Hey, remember that lady I told you to harass? I need you to go back there and harass her some more.
I hear her house is being robbed. It's very dangerous. Go out there with no help.
And bring me back something cool.
So
More
she
cigars.
So she runs out there, and sure enough, there are some dudes with like a gas tank, and they're gassing Superman.
It's a pesticide.
Yeah, it's like a pesticide
And they're
tank. Yeah.
spraying Superman in the face. But I like how she thinks that he depowered himself, but he's still dressed as Superman.
Yeah, he's still fighting crime, I guess, which is actually the first time he's been fighting crime at all in this episode.
Right? I think he was just at his girlfriend's house and they just like decided to spray him with some gas.
He was just hanging out, looking for something to do.
Right? Is that
bored.
DDT
Yeah.
before they outlawed it?
So Lois runs in and says, "Well, I'm going to save Superman because he's always saved me." But then, just as that's happening, the second Superman, the real Superman, shows up and rescues both the fake Superman and Lois.
Yep. He's like, yep, Lois, don't worry. I was just being a dick to you and only you.
Yep. And that's actually pretty much what he says. But in order to explain what the hell happened here, if possible, so I guess the dude that Lois saw who originally let her into Dolores Drake's mansion was a guy that she recognized from some gang, and that guy has since dressed up as Superman to try and steal Dolores.
Yep, and it was Andrew Tate all along.
Because they were going to get married, and then I guess he would be like, oh, hey, it was me, and this
Okay.
won't nullify the marriage at all.
Okay, weird but fair. Okay, so all of this was happening while a separate mob was planning to rob her?
Yes,
Yep.
2 mobs were going through this shit.
Jesus.
Well, he was the butler, and he was going to dress up as Superman to marry the lady he worked for, but the gate security who let in Lois originally, who she recognized, was actually a criminal who was like scouting the location. And they both had 2 separate scams going. And we don't see how devastated the rich lady is by learning that her fiance is a bald man who's her employee.
And by the way, he didn't like put on makeup and a wig to dress as Superman. He wore a full rubber head.
He
Which
didn't
means
need
that
to.
she didn't notice.
Didn't notice.
He kind of looks like Superman. He could have just wore a wig, really.
Well, I mean, in fairness, men do kiss like they have rubber lips.
I don't.
We're bad at it. We're
I'm
terrible
great at it.
Women are way better. You think you're good at it, and then
Yeah, I've
you
had
realize
many
that
compliments.
women are way better at this kissing thing.
I have to be good at these things, James. I'm not as tall as you, and I don't make as much money.
This comic ends wonderfully in just a little like, oh, good. Just in
Right.
the last lines, a nice little punch. Last one.
So, yes, so Superman rescues Lois and explains everything, but he doesn't apologize or say there was any reason for
No.
him being a dick. He just says, hey, I was busy. What'd you expect?
Yep, because he's a Chad.
Can't worry about your feelings.
You know, like our last book we did with the Legion of Superheroes, that had a great message on like how to and how not to
Right.
pick up girls, and this one also has a similar message.
This is terrible. This is
Yeah.
terrible. So this ends, and I guess as Superman is non-apologizing for his behavior, he tosses
would he?
in, by the way, when do I meet this twin of yours? And Lois says, well, what if you like her better than me? And Superman says, well, no, you're perfect, Lois, because Dolores Drake has a mole on her left wrist.
Yep, but he could just burn it off with his eye vision.
Yeah. No. He doesn't say you're perfect. He says because you're more perfect.
Yep.
Wow.
You don't have any blemishes at all.
A mole on your left wrist? Fucking Christ, man. Let it go.
You know, how come Lois didn't know right away that it was a fake Superman? Because the real Superman, if he was with Lois look-like, he'd be able to tell them apart by seeing their DNA.
Yeah, I don't think he had that kind of vision at this point. I think he was just tough.
All right.
It's the tough guy who could fly. Yeah, I don't think they...
Lois,
I mean, he has X-ray vision.
it's
Yeah.
even like the last panel, and Lois still looks incredibly insecure.
Lois looks like she has been psychologically destroyed by
Right?
this
She's
adventure.
like, but you still like me, right? He goes, yeah, you don't got any gross moles.
She can't be doing well.
Superman gets so much sunlight, though. He should be covered in moles.
Yeah. It's too bad that you couldn't go to see a therapist in the 50s without being branded insane, because she needs it desperately right now.
Yep. Everyone
Desperately.
in the 50s did, though.
Yeah, everyone in every year. Then we've got this little...
now.
Yep, everyone's doing fine now.
Yeah.
We got this little one-page filler comic called Johnny and Janie, which is about a woman taking a redheaded man to dinner. So already you know this is
Already
fictional.
unbelievable.
Yep, not happened, not real. And she tells the guy, listen, I don't need your redhead bullshit here. This is a very exclusive restaurant. You need to learn how to behave here.
I know no one's ever taken you to dinner before because you're gross, but here you need to have good table manners. He goes, bitch, I got good table manners. You need to shut up. She goes, you need to shut up and have good table manners. Just copy whatever I do. All right?
You can't just scoop the food off the plate like you usually do. We have
He just
silverware here.
He sticks his hand in the soup and just splashes it in his mouth.
She talks to him like it's a monkey at the zoo. This is called a spoon. Spoon.
She does coordinate her outfit with his hair color, though.
And so she says, just do whatever I do. And then he gets very upset about this. He decides to take it semi-literally. So she starts putting on her makeup, and so he decides to take out a razor and start trimming up his non-beard.
Out of the lamp.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
plugged
yeah,
into a
it's
lamp, like a
plugged
sconce
in.
on the wall.
So he
Also,
brought that.
he either carried a razor with him or there was a razor in the lamp.
This happens all the time with these two.
Yeah, right. And then
This
he
is
smacks
this
her.
is a long-standing couple, and this is how they get along.
Like,
Right.
what the hell?
All right.
Weird. Very.
Well, this isn't a
bizarre.
long-standing couple because this is clearly the first time they've ever been to a restaurant because she, apparently
No.
she doesn't take him any. Like, she never brought
The
up the fact
next
that he,
panel is her just getting up and walking out.
right?
No, I think
And then the waiter walks by and they fist bump.
I think they've been together a long time. This is just the first time she's been willing to be seen in public with him.
You think people just didn't break up back then?
No, because there are only 7 people in your hometown. What
Like
are you
you
gonna
just
do?
dated one person.
Yes.
If it lasted longer than a couple weeks, like this is the person you're with.
Yeah, because you were a tramp if you had been with one person and now
Yeah,
you
she
want to be
can't.
with a
Yeah, you
second
can't
person.
have a high body count.
Oh my God,
Then
terrible.
you busted.
Okay, then we get into the middle adventure. This one is called The Girl of 100 Costumes, written by uncredited. Don't have a credit. Nobody wanted credit for this one. Art by Al Plastino.
Yep.
This is the most boring.
This is really dull.
This one.
However, well, the main thing I'll take away from this is it turns out that posting everyone's pay on the wall is just another example of a pattern of people disregarding privacy of the Daily Planet.
Yep.
Because here Perry White orders Superman to invade the privacy of one of his reporters who didn't show up that day.
Yeah.
I like how even in Lois Lane, like, the first panel is Lois Lane dreaming about wearing extravagant outfits to get Superman to be attracted to him.
asleep. Yeah, she's
Notice
literally
how
asleep.
she matches his color scheme as well.
Oh,
to catch
wow,
it.
yeah.
But even in her dreams, Superman is uninterested in anything she does to get his attention.
Well, because her dream is that he's constantly negging her.
All right, which is the dream of all women.
All right. Okay. So our story proper opens with Superman coming into the window of the Daily Planet. As we've learned, Superman always comes in through the window.
He's like, "Thank God, Superman, you're here to invade my office and whatnot unasked. I need you to
Yes.
to violate the privacy of one of my reporters."
So Perry White says, "Yeah, one of my fashion reporter didn't come in today, but she's got her report in this cabinet that I don't have access to. So I need you to use your X-ray vision to see through it and type out everything that she wrote for me."
This is what I think happened. I think Superman killed the fashion reporter, knowing full well that they're going to be missing that reporter. So he shows up at the Daily Planet. Although he could just go to work as Clark Kent and take over
Yeah.
the article. I don't know why.
This is
And
more
he did-
exciting to him.
And he doesn't X-ray vision shit. He writes his own article about fashion.
And he's thinking, wow, this is what I was actually supposed to be doing for my real job. Isn't that funny? I love doing it's like when you play a video game that has you doing something really mundane that you wouldn't want to do in real life. Like if you had to do it in real life, you would hate it. You'd bale hay or whatever. But in a video game, you're excited to do it.
Making money. That's the thing for me. Like I think of, like, whenever I'm in a video game and I have to make money, I'm like, man, I wish I could just transfer these credits to my actual bank account because I hear I'm making money.
Yeah. That's surprisingly a lot easier to make money in a video game than in the real
It's in
life.
the game.
So Superman starts typing up this column that he's supposedly seeing through the cabinet
Wink.
via invasion of privacy, or just really being into being a fashion reporter. And he's typing up, it says, "Girls, if you want to win your man, try a frequent change of costumes. The more unusual and glamorous, the better." What kind of newspaper is this?
I don't know.
Like, you really...
I don't know.
Where's the news?
It's like People Magazine.
It's
How to get a
bizarre.
bigger dick.
It's bizarre.
Who's cutting Superman's hair?
So I don't necessarily know about his hair, but the story of how he trims his beard is he takes a piece of lead, or possibly a piece of his ship from when he was a baby, and he's got it bent in such a way that he can hit the trajectory of his beard, and he laser eyes it. It bounces off the steel or off the lead, and then hits his beard, and he trims that way. So he may do the same thing for his hair.
I don't know.
Oh, he's Superman. He can do anything he wants to do.
All they really, because they did in these comics, they do mention even his hair is super. Like his
Maybe
hair,
it doesn't grow then.
well, it does grow because when he
had a
comes
mullet.
back after he dies and he had that mullet.
Yeah.
Maybe
the
he
best
can
look.
make it grow.
Okay.
Oh,
That's the Dragon Ball Z explanation, is that that's just what their hair looks like and
Just-
it never gets bigger or smaller.
No, I like this idea that it's just his willpower. He
Yeah,
just
right.
wills his hair.
Right. He gives himself a fade with his mind.
It's a high top fade that he had in the late 80s, early 90s, yes. When he was getting into rap a lot, when he was starting to breakdance.
Right.
So Lois sees that Superman is writing this column and assumes it's Superman actually writing his own thoughts down and decides this will be a
Because that
plot.
makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Instead of just asking him about it, like, Superman, what the fuck are you doing here? Why are
All
you
of
in Clark's desk?
All of these problems would be solved by just asking somebody, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Nobody
Why
ever
don't you
does
just
it.
go to work?
Like, if you want to be a reporter, like, you're literally, maybe you would get that raise if you would just show up from time to time and do what you're doing as Superman.
So are we to believe that they have like a normal schedule, like a 9 to 5? My fashion reporter just didn't show up today. Like, call their house.
No.
I assume that they were sick.
Still, you
You're
need
supposed
to
to
give them
call
a call.
it, but like, what's their work schedule like?
don't
When
know,
is
man.
Clark Kent supposed to be
Why
in the
don't
office?
they have a maintenance man that can get into those cabinets?
Why didn't he ask Superman to open the cabinet?
We can see the Daily Planet is not the most well-run newspaper. This isn't the best place to
You
go.
think Superman walks by that sign that has everyone's salaries and he just like grimaces knowing that he's the lowest paid?
Bitch, you son of a bitch. Perry White, you fucking asshole.
Right?
I will destroy you.
Maybe if he showed up for fucking work.
I'm going to wipe your seed from the earth, Perry White, you piece
Yeah,
of shit.
all the whites are gonna die.
You human trash. This is the end of your bloodline. So,
What are you doing over there, Clark?
so
Nothing, Perry.
just not brooding at all.
Getting my job done, Mr. White.
He gives him a little wink.
he hears Perry White under his breath say, "God, Clark's such a little bitch."
Oh, they're going to have it out one day. It's going to be
And
great.
Superman has like the saddest frown.
So Lois decides that she's going to use what supposedly is Superman's actual thoughts and beliefs that a woman should change her costumes all the time, change her clothing all the time. She's going to use that to make Superman fall in love with him.
That's ironic since Superman never changes his clothes.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the perfect outfit.
Yeah, right? The best clothes possible. All it's missing is a top hat and a cane.
Well,
He's
she should just
perfected it
wear
all.
that outfit then.
Right?
Yes, just wear Superman's outfit plus the top hat and cane.
Right?
And then
that's
swap
the-
it out. Sometimes you wear a top hat and cane. Sometimes you wear a winter hat and mittens.
Yep. I mean, I will say, changing outfits is a great thing.
I have the same outfit.
Not wearing the same clothes every day, seeing different people in different outfits, it's one of life's many joys.
I just have the same outfit every day.
Yep, just black and holy.
Yep.
Pit
Blessed
stained.
by God.
Yep. So
Pit stained, up yours.
That's true.
I'm
It's
not
pit
dirty.
stained.
well, you can hide those because all your stuff is black, so it's easy to hide those pit stains.
I just have a lot of clothes. It's just the same clothes.
I'm going to fight you on that, James. No pit stains.
Yeah.
But there are holes.
I'm a 2-shower.
Holes with an S.
You know, I just also I don't really sweat and I don't smell. I might be an android.
Well, you think you don't smell. You might
Oh
smell
no, I've had
terrible.
lots of people tell me that I don't smell at all. I
mean,
have
I don't
no
know.
smell.
I think the fact that people have to tell you that is suspicious.
I asked. That's why.
Well, who's going to tell you?
I was having a conversation with people about why a lot of people at work smell like shit. I'm like, man, do I smell like shit? They go, actually, you don't smell at all.
A lot of people do have terrible hygiene.
Right? They're
Yeah.
disgusting.
They're
But
not
James,
flossing enough.
I don't think. Okay, so he's saying he doesn't have a smell, not that he isn't stinky. He's saying that his smell
Right.
is neutral.
Yeah, I got a neutral smell.
Okay, I think I probably have. Do I have a neutral smell, Shée?
No.
What do I smell like? Chamomile? No, I've got lotions and potions all over the place.
Yeah, it depends on what you're using that day.
I don't use
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, I'm sliding in and out of different personalities. Yeah.
Wearing your Superman costume?
Yeah, you never know. You never know what I need to accomplish in a given day. I have the right tool for the right job.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Lois won a contest and gave the prize to charity. So to thank her for that, Superman wants to do a favor for Lois and asks Lois, "What would you like?"
She should have said right away, eat my pussy. And she
Right
didn't.
here, right on
She's
Perry
a
White's desk.
fucking coward.
Yeah, for a ballsy newspaper lady, she certainly doesn't take a lot of risks.
You think that she would just get it, right?
Yeah. Just say, like, I don't have time for this. I'm in the city. I live in the big city. This is Metropolis.
This is some Gotham bullshit.
It's like the Superman knows they can never be together because if he tried to have sex with her, she would die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, I think he was just kind of tough.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think, like, but he also wants female attention. Like, this is the girl he likes. It's just, you can't be with her.
I think it's just because he's bored. He's got nothing to do.
He's got everything in the world to do, and he's not doing
But
any of those
none
things.
of it matters to him. It's all so beneath him that he just kind of hangs out and fucks with people.
He's like, I know what I'll do. I'll show up as Superman to the place I work and write articles that aren't my job.
Yep. And then I'm going to go to a puppet show and do a gymnastics demonstration for some reason.
I'm going to juggle a series of bricks and then tell Lois to shut the fuck up.
Apparently, if you've got any sort of small town bullshit going on, you can give Superman a call and he will swing by and make an appearance.
I'm sure there's like starving people somewhere he could be helping.
No. There's a dog show he has to judge. So Lois says, oh, here's what I'll do. I'll have Superman ask me to the newspaper ball, take me out to this ball that's
Just
coming up.
ask him.
Nope. But first, I have to convince him to want to do it by dressing up in a bunch of ridiculous outfits.
He said, gave her an opening, like, I'll do anything you want. And all she should say was, take me to the ball. And he would have been like, all right, can I dress up as Superman while I'm doing it?
She wants to earn it.
What the fuck?
It's weird. So
This is so childish.
Lois sees she can't afford any new clothing herself because she hasn't gone to work in months, apparently.
Yeah, she's just at work.
She just hangs out.
She should be like hitting them bricks, like trying to find a scoop.
Yeah. She just shows up to see if Superman's there yet.
Yeah.
So she manages to talk to an actress friend of hers. And it's an actor, by the way. It's not an actress. She's an actor.
She like shows up in her friend's dressing room and Superman's there.
Superman's everywhere.
Doing her hair and makeup.
He can do everything everywhere.
Oh,
So-
hello, Lois. The hair and makeup lady called in sick.
This female actor says she's going to lend Lois a bunch of outfits that she can wear to attract Superman.
She's like, I'm going to give you my most culturally inappropriate outfits.
Yes. So there's a series of outfits she puts on, and the rest of the story is she just keeps putting on these outfits, manufacturing ridiculous situations to wear them, and
they
things
all
go
fail.
haywire. Yeah.
See, it's a comic book for girls. Like, most of the story is just Lois trying on outfits.
Yep. And that was a great, healthy way for women to grow up. As
I don't
Shée
know.
is breathing heavily.
I don't know. Shée said she had a bunch of Barbies. What'd you do with them Barbies, Shée? Did you dress them up in different outfits?
Yep.
There you go. Girls like that shit. It is what it is.
I didn't read about it though.
Would you have? Somebody gave you Barbie comics?
Oh, we did Barbie comics, and they are insane.
Yeah,
They're great.
Remember
They're
that
fantastic.
was way better than we expected.
Yeah,
so
that
was
I
actually
hope
really good.
I would have.
That's why we're going to go back to that one of these days.
Well-developed comic book, absolutely. So this first thing is she's wearing like an Hawaiian dress, like a grass skirt and the whole thing.
Man,
So-
I gotta be honest with you. I almost don't want to spend the time going through all these panels because nothing happens.
Yeah,
It's just the
we can-
same thing each page.
No,
Yeah.
but I joked about Superman showing up in different places and doing stuff that's not his job. Here, in order to save money on a special effect for a movie, they just bring in Superman to do it for them.
Well, as we learned before, Superman does have his SAG card.
He's just like, hey, I can just do this for you, and then you don't have to spend money on the special effects. He goes, oh, great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Superman.
And Lois is there for the same reason, but also the stars of this movie are potentially going to get married, and Lois thinks maybe she can get a scoop on that if she's around.
She really is just a TMZ reporter at this.
Yeah.
And so she hides in an igloo, which she is not dressed appropriately
Yeah,
for.
why would the set igloo actually be cold, though?
Yeah, if anything, you'd think it'd be the other way around. It'd be too warm.
It'd be made of styrofoam, right?
Not to mention, both of the other people are also like not dressed super warmly,
Right,
and
yeah.
they're not doing this.
Maybe it's just psychological. She's like psychologically cold because she's in
Yeah,
an
it's
igloo.
psychosomatic. Yeah. So yeah, the couple that's potentially going to get married, they see Lois because she's chattering, and they kick her out of there, and that whole thing was a failure.
They're like, get the hell out of here, you crazy lady. Who the fuck are you?
Need to find
Security
something.
beats her up.
Yep, it's time to find something more culturally inappropriate. Maybe that'll work.
She's like, so I'm gonna dress up like a Chinese lady.
Right. She puts on like a kimono.
Nope, that's not what that is.
Is it not a kimono?
Kimono's Japanese.
No.
It is.
It says it's a traditional gown.
It's a Chinese New Year, or it's some sort of Chinese celebration. Yeah. Okay. So Lois, in whatever Chinese historical gown she shouldn't be wearing, she's out on the street. Superman's just showing up, putting on a show again, like he normally does.
Yep. Not actually doing any good for anyone. Are we
Not
going to
helping
assume that
anyone.
Superman has solved all the problems?
Yeah, it's a great time. Well, the 1950s were notoriously free of any sort of conflict or strife. It was a great time to be alive.
You know, that's what they say.
Yep. And so some Chinese people, they put a giant demon head on top of Lois because
Without asking.
Without asking, but I guess it's in their culture that if somebody is wearing an authentic costume like Lois is wearing, you put the devil mask on her for some reason.
It's like a giant like paper mache head, and they just slam it on her head, breaking her neck, killing her.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the head of the dragon, right?
First of all, Shée, I'm the head of the dragon.
So this plan doesn't work either for some bizarre reason. So Lois says, all right, the next thing I'm going to try, I'm going to dress like a what would a Spanish señorita, but I don't really know. Like, that's not an outfit. That's just being a woman in Spain.
I guess.
That's all it is. Like, you don't get a uniform for
Well,
it.
she's going to a bullfighting
Yes.
competition or whatever.
But her sense of direction is awful, so she gets lost and decides to cut through the actual arena where the bull is going to be running.
Yeah. Which at this point, bitch, you deserve this.
Yeah, she's kind of a moron.
Yeah, kind of dumb.
Like, she just keeps getting her. She's like she was supposed to get. Like, she ruined what she was supposed to do for a living. She went to the movie studio to get the scoop of these two people getting married. She fucks that up because she's like too thirsty for Superman.
Right.
All she had to do was just ask him out.
Yep. Nope, it's got to be convoluted.
It's got to be 100 and something issues convoluted.
So she like jumps over this wall. Right. If he gets with her though, that's the end of like Lois Lane.
Yeah, you can't keep that book going after that. Yeah.
So like she jumps over this wall, and unfortunately, it's where they're keeping the violent bull because they got a rubber band around its testicles.
Yep. Yeah, he's very upset about that, but mostly because it's just humiliating.
That's what they do.
Yeah, he just doesn't feel like a full bull.
And so Superman, with his telescopic vision, sees it, and he grabs a telephone pole and goes, I'll fix it later. And
He does.
And he deprives a whole neighborhood of power and throws the telephone pole, impaling the bull.
Well, that's not quite what happened.
What really happened here?
What really happened was he throws the telephone pole with like a lasso he's fashioned on it with a noose so that it'll land just so in the arena and the noose will grab the bull. Mm-hmm. Now, it's worth noting Superman's like 300 feet away from the arena in the sky. He could easily just swoop in and save Lois.
I mean, he's Superman, though.
He's got to make a show of it.
You know, but it's just like no one asks Lois what she's doing there. He doesn't ask why Lois is there.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Just show up, whatever.
Like, that whole neighborhood doesn't have power now. What if a hospital just lost all of its power?
Yeah, that's fine. But Lois Lane is okay, right? Famed reporter
okay.
Lois Lane.
Yep. And so she does what she did. So she's depressed that all that happened. So she decides to go yodeling, which she uses to feel better.
Right. That actually did happen. She goes yodeling. She dresses up. What is this outfit now?
Like
She as a
like
Swiss,
a mountaineer.
Yeah,
I
Swiss
guess.
mountain woman. Yeah. And shows up at some sort of like play that they're having, some sort of outdoor play or something.
Well, it's a yodeling concert.
I think it's a parade.
oh,
They're
is
on
it
a float.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a
oh, yeah, it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a yodeling.
So if it's anything like the Thanksgiving parade, the yodeling is just a track.
Yep, and Bart Simpson is deflating,
Yeah.
falling all over everything.
Because Superman like fucked it up somehow, doing something else.
He was doing. He needed it. Okay, he needed that air out of that balloon for something.
Yeah.
So this is actually working out okay. And then Superman's impressed, and he comes down and goes, "All right, I fucked with you enough. What do you want to do here?"
Yeah, what do you want to do? And she finally decides, you know what? I bet if I just tell him what I want,
Yep.
I'll get. But the yodeling makes her lose her voice, and she can't speak louder than a whisper. But that should be more than enough for Superman's hearing.
Yep.
But instead, he's just like, "What? What'd you say?"
Also, how does Lois Lane know how to yodel? That's difficult. That's not something you just pick up.
She had a hidden talent.
Well, apparently the writer didn't think so.
I can't even whistle properly with the fingers.
As we discussed, that shit ain't real.
Is yodeling real? Where do we land on yodeling?
Yodeling's
Fake
real
news?
because what's the name of that singer? She's a yodeler.
I don't know.
That fucking lady.
We got a yodeling singer?
Yeah, she's like a country singer. It's like a pop country singer. She also
Jewel?
yodels. Jewel, yeah, Jewel's a yodeler.
I just think of the Price is Right game.
Oh
The
yeah,
little yodeling guy that goes over the cliff. Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was reading
Yeah,
this.
that's the best thing. Then we got one more one-pager. I'm going to stretch this out as long as
Which
possible because
this is the best page in the entire book.
it's called Linda and Larry. It's pretty great. Shée, do you want to tell us what's going on in this one?
Yeah, because it's great. So a kid comes home after fighting, and his older sister's like, I'm telling mom.
Yeah,
so the kid
bitch.
thinks, well, I'm going to get her back. And while she's on the couch with one of her suitors, or maybe her only suitor, he comes in and calls him the wrong name and says,
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were Sherman. Sorry. And just ruins her night.
This little shit. Base.
Yeah, and then he's got a nice little shit-eating grin, and it's great.
Yeah, cock blocked his sister.
It's so smart. He's just
This is
like,
a really
hi,
good
Sherman.
move.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were Sherman.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he says.
And
And
he's
then
well aware.
Larry is super pissed, but he's mulling over if he might be into this.
Yeah, Larry. That's back when you had to like put on a suit for hookups.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine the work?
Your suit was dirty and you can't make it to your hookup because you got to go to the dry cleaners. Oh,
Are we to assume that Larry's running his neighborhood? You know what I mean? Because he's like coming home and she's like, "You're fighting again." That means like he's been doing this,
he's the Mac Daddy of Heimlich County.
dude. He's been Tony Soprano-ing his neighborhood.
Ah, I love this guy, Linda and Larry. Good kids. Good kids.
Yeah,
And then we got one more last little one pager. Jerry the Jitterbug.
yeah.
And
This one's dumb.
yeah, Jerry gets a pipe for his birthday and he wants to show it to his lady. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, well, you look great, but how come there's no smoke coming out of it? And Jerry says, the only intelligent thing anyone said in one of these comics, do you want me to get sick?
And then he hits her as hard as he can.
It's pretty terrible.
There's no
yeah.
joke, though. That's it.
The joke is that somebody wouldn't be smoking.
Yeah, because it does make you sick.
Yeah. It's very bizarre. Very
Which means
bizarre that he's
they-
actually...
Wait, that means they were aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, they were aware that smoking would make you sick. They just didn't care.
I guess they just did it.
Very weird.
All right. I don't think that time actually existed. It's like Phantom Time, and they say like most of the Dark Ages didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
It's like that. The 50s weren't real.
Yeah, no 50s. Well, I don't remember them. I haven't seen the 50s.
Nothing before I was born. It's all simulation.
Yep. They only had black and white TV. Please, come on.
Yeah,
That-
come
that's
on.
fake.
You
That's
had
fake.
color TV.
You had color TV. It was real.
Shut up.
All right. I guess I can't put this off any longer. It's time to talk about Lois Lane, the fattest girl in Metropolis. I didn't name it that. I didn't want to say that.
She can't possibly be the fattest girl in Metropolis.
Yeah, what is it, LA? Come on. She's
Like,
not that big.
Not really, especially nowadays. Like, not really.
No.
Also,
Lois Lane is within that size. Like, she could find clothes at a normal store.
Yeah,
Yeah. Her neighbor does tell her, well, I shop at the fat girls shop.
she sure does.
Which
Straight
is
up
apparently
calls
the
it that,
name
too.
of a... No,
Yeah.
I think that was the proper name of the place.
No, I do. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like
Well-
Dress Barn.
This is our last story. This was written by Otto Binder, art by Kurt Schaffenberger again. All
For
right?
when you're the size of a barn.
So this is has, as usual, has a little splash page giving us a taste of what we're in for. And Superman is carrying a somewhat heavier Lois Lane across the city.
This is a guy who could pick up a building that's fallen over, and
Yep.
he is
Right.
struggling to carry this fat woman.
Yeah. And make sure to mention it every chance he can
Yeah,
get.
Superman has zero tact on this.
Yeah.
He keeps
like-
shoving this in.
Fuck this comic. I'm going to spoil everything.
He
It
is
turns
struggling.
out he's the one that made her fucking this big.
Without telling her,
So-
and for really not any reason.
Yeah,
like he
so
married
he does
her.
this and then fucking insults her the entire time she is.
Yeah.
He's carrying her, right? He's flying with her. He's like, man, I'm used to carrying slender Lois Lane. You're making me
Right.
real tired, fat lady. And so, like, fat Lois is like trying to cover up her face with her giant hat, but Superman can see through the hat.
Yeah.
Well, he can see through the hat, but we will see repeatedly in this story that even when Superman looks Lois dead in her face, he doesn't recognize her because she weighs more.
I heard there's what's that Jack Black movie where
Shallow
Shallow
Hell.
Hell.
Shallow Hell, so the actress who
it Gwyneth
plays
Paltrow?
Gwyneth
Or the
Paltrow,
large
she said when she was filming and she was wearing the fat suit that no one would look at her in the eye because like they were just because they didn't want to like I guess like that's some like like nature shit or something. Like I heard a lot of like overweight women complain about that. People are like they're like ashamed to look at her.
Now, that could absolutely be true, but by the same token, I think Gwyneth Paltrow is also one of those people that demands nobody look at her.
I'm sure she's super nice.
I've not seen any indication
Come
that
on,
she's super nice.
she's got to be nice.
Didn't she sell like vagina candles or something?
That's pretty nice.
They're like $80. It's some sort of weird. I don't know.
Why would you
what it
want a
was.
fish
I think
smelling
it's
candle?
probably just like a cedarwood candle that they just,
You know what I'm talking about, Shée, right?
PR.
You saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like vagina scented candles.
Usually it's guys who want people to see their wood.
All right.
That joke was better than you guys.
Oh, wow, it was. I totally just missed the cedar wood. Yeah, no, I
was a
missed that.
good
Bravo,
joke.
Mike.
I'll
Bravo.
enjoy that in the edit. I'll dub in a laugh.
There you go. Thank you.
So anyway, so this story opens with Lois driving down the highway, and she sees that this one criminal is murdering another criminal so that he can jump the claim and keep both shares.
Based.
And Lois says, that looks like a deliberate, planned killing. Apparently she doesn't care for deliberately planned killings.
She couldn't think of the word murder.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, she's only a reporter.
She's like, it's one of those things. One of those
Excuse me, sir?
things.
What is that thing that you're doing?
Deliberate killing. That's not it.
Lois Lane is the only witness, and the guy saw that Lois Lane was there, so Lois is just going to drive away, I guess, instead of chasing him down.
And she didn't get a good look at the guy because she was looking in the mirror wondering if she's getting fat.
She actually says she can't describe the guy because he's so average looking.
She's like, she just wasn't 6 feet tall or taller, so I just didn't notice him.
It's maybe even worse than being called ugly.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time stressing that he's so average she doesn't remember.
You can be tall. If you're tall, you can be ugly.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Being short is like the worst thing you could be as a man.
Well, I'm trying to think of some. Well, Michael Phelps, that's an ugly
unless
man.
you're Wolverine.
Well, he's a great-looking man. He's
No,
like
he's not. He's an ugly little
We're not talking
monster.
about Hugh Jackman. We're talking about actual Wolverine,
The actual
the fictional
Wolverine.
character. All right, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about things that actually were real,
No.
not cartoon monster men.
Well, he's got pheromones. That's what the ladies want to fuck, and his confidence.
He is a very confident guy.
Well,
You gotta
yeah,
give him
dude.
that.
That dude's been bagging broads since
like
the 1800s.
He's like 5'6". You have to have some confidence.
5'3",
Is he 5'3"? Good
Yes.
lord.
Dang. I'm
Yes.
taller
Tiny
than
little boy.
Wolverine
but he weighs 300 pounds.
because of all
Well-
the metal.
And that needs a beefcake.
Well, and his hair also sticks up an extra 6 inches.
Imagine like carrying around that heavy ass skeleton, and he's always tearing his muscles because he has to carry that weight around. But he has superhuman healing, so they instantly heal, so they get bigger.
So
Like, of
just doing
course, he's
anything
going to
is a
be
workout.
jacked.
Yeah, just he can
Didn't
do anything.
Explode at some point.
I'm sure, lots of times.
He was. I've mentioned this several times in the comic because it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Where I think it was in
Yes.
Civil War, where they dropped a bomb on him and he just regenerated from bones.
I think they just ignore that now.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go.
Because now in the current line of comics, he gets killed all the time, but they can just resurrect people now.
Yep. Not writing themselves into a corner at all.
It's part of the story.
So at the police station, Lois Lane is talking about how she can't identify this guy. And the police officer goes, well, I'm not going to do anything about it, I guess. Just let me know. Let me know if
He's like,
something comes up.
Because this is the major city. I don't give a shit about one murder.
It's a double-digit murder before I start caring.
They're like, oh, wait a minute. What color was the murderer? Well, he was average. He was average in white. He goes,
No ink in that. So they put girl reporter witnesses murder on the front page of the Daily Planet
not sexist.
with a picture of Lois Lane.
Yep. And Superman
All right.
goes, you know what would really make that article pop? If it was a bigger photo, but of me.
Yeah. I hope she wrote the story.
Nope. Clark wrote it.
Yeah. What if she got scooped?
It's the most irresponsible newspaper I've ever seen. What are they trying? Like, I'm pretty convinced that this newspaper doesn't actually circulate. It's just a front for a drug operation or something.
Perry White's office must just reek of cigar smoke.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Like, can you imagine
I'm
how
sure every office in the 50s and 60s did.
there's always a bottle of liquor? Everyone's got like liquor sweats.
It's like in the House of Representatives now.
You know, we complain about people smelling bad, but can you imagine how bad they smelled in the 50s? Because they're always wearing those thick suits.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
They're always smoking and always drinking whiskey.
Yeah, disgusting.
They must have stunk.
Horrific. Everything always had that brown sepia tone to it.
Oh God!
Yeah,
Can you
just-
imagine like you're some poor lady in the 50s and your body hair husband
Yep.
comes home from work stinking of cigarettes and liquor.
So maybe
Ugh.
that's why Lois likes Superman, is because
But
since
the
he's not
wife-
human.
The wife also probably smells like cigarettes and liquor.
and fish.
Was it was it the House of Representatives or was it the Senate that the Republicans decided you can smoke here now? They rolled back the non-smoking rule.
You could smoke in the really.
That would be House
Wait.
of Reps.
It was the House? Yeah, I thought it
They're
was
the,
real
they're the
life?
one with the majority, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Let's check that.
Was that just a power move?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Just like we're gonna smoke in here again.
The
Take
Capitol
that,
building.
libs.
Which would make it the only building in the Capitol where you can smoke.
Smoking is
What?
back in the Capitol under new
What?
House Republican leadership. Yep.
What a
Smoke
weird
there.
thing to vote for.
It's just a spite vote. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Is it just like to test it? Like, you're testing your stream?
Yeah. Just see if maybe it's good for you now.
See if my internet can hold up.
God, it's so stupid.
That was the internet speed test of votes.
Yes. We'll see how it works out. Speeddesk.net. Ookla. So Lois goes on an assignment.
Right, you guys well, Lois is going on this assignment, right? But Superman already has a plan. As we find out later, he has a plan for all of this.
Yep.
In this panel, he's kind of like cheekily, like his face is like in this like is showcase in the panel where he's just like, oh boy, I'm gonna make her fat as shit soon.
I'm going to ruin this woman's life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which is what happens.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
goes-
aliens abduct people and ruin their lives all the time,
Yeah, he's just following his cultural norms.
right?
This is what aliens do.
He doesn't give a shit.
So
It's like I'll turn her back.
Exactly.
What are you complaining about?
Yeah. Because Superman decides on his own that Lois needs to be protected, and the best way to do this
Right.
is by making her unrecognizable. Not with one of the multitude of costumes we just established she has,
None of that. No costume.
You think
but
he
by
could?
physically making her
Deforming her.
body, yes, different.
You think that he could just like float above the city and listen real hard and wait until he hears the guy admit to murdering someone?
I'm listening for the most average voice in all of Metropolis. Completely no distinguishing features whatsoever.
Yeah, you know who you wouldn't hear then? The three of us.
Yes. That's a good dynamic.
Oh, those three people got a great sounding podcast with their voices.
Can't be
Hopefully
those
they do a
guys.
whole month for me.
I'm gonna
Superman.
listen and subscribe as soon as I get home and they
It
invent
just
the
better
internet.
not be January. Fuck that month. And we're like pulling on our shirt collars.
A
Ooh.
month of Superman? That can't possibly last.
Superman
that's
doesn't like the month we picked.
That's gonna really limp to the barn on that.
He finds out that we banned him for a whole year. He's like, fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck that. Not saving
I'm
them.
going to listen so hard they die.
That's one of Superman's lesser known powers. Is
Yeah.
death by hearing. Audio
That's
death.
fucking metal as shit.
That is.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
So Lois goes to see this this scientist who's invented a growth ray, and he aims at his own penis.
You know, I love that that's what I would do first thing. They invent a growth ray. What it does is it doesn't make things bigger. It makes them plumper and fuller.
Mhm.
That's what this thing does. And so he just solved world hunger.
He calls it a growth ray, though. He doesn't call it a plumper.
You know what I mean, though? Like he
Yeah.
just like that's way more important than like trying to solve a murder by making a lady fat.
Yep. Yet he still gets involved with this stupid scheme because Superman told him to.
Superman could have like gave her a mustache. There's like a bunch of other stuff he could have
Or
done.
taken her out of town.
Yeah. Or just kept an eye on her. Like he was doing anyway.
Yeah.
he did this just because he finds a machine that the scientist invented. What if Superman invented this thing for him and said, "Here, you take the credit. I don't care." And he does this because I know it'll be fun. I'm gonna make Lois fat as shit, and then I'm gonna like follow her around until someone tries to kill her.
I'm tired of negging her. What can I do now to fuck with her?
Yeah. He is really breaking her down psychologically.
What if he likes a fat ass and he's just rubbing his hands together and licking his
Well,
lips? He's like, "Oh
yeah.
boy,
doesn't? Who
this is
doesn't?
why he didn't want her before.
Yeah.
She wasn't big enough."
Now, doctor, when you hit her with a growth ray, make sure it only hits her ass. I cannot stress this enough.
He's like, "Hey, it even looks like that's what he's aiming for."
Yeah.
I swear, do not fuck this up.
Like it's kind of like something's wrong because like even like in the panels, like they in bold the word plumper is brought up, and he's just like, oops, and shines it on her.
Yes, he has to play along and pretend like
He's laughing about it too. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, you're probably fine.
So he's a scientist who's smart enough to invent a growth ray, but he can't seem to aim the thing for shit.
well, he's like, he's always in on it, and he's laughing
in
about
it, but
all
it's
this.
not a
He
good
goes,
excuse.
he goes, this lady's gonna be big as shit in the morning.
Yeah, and sure enough, she wakes up and she is
She's pudgy.
fine.
Well, he does tell her, don't worry, it doesn't work on humans. And then psych.
Yeah.
It does. Psych.
Yeah, so we start out with Lois realizing she has nothing to wear.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's double what she was before.
And she breaks her scale.
She doesn't break her scale.
Hey,
She breaks pretty much everything else, though.
She stands on it and springs fly out of it. Boing.
So she runs across the hall because she remembers that the woman across the hall is fat, and then tells her, well, I buy my clothes, like James said, at the fat girl's shop, which is exactly where Lois goes.
Lois stands on the scale and it cartoonishly pops up a no sale sign like in a cartoon like cash
Yes.
register.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, normally death by audio is what I call it when I hear someone listening to Seven Dust.
Oh,
I
sick.
go back to that. I'll go back to that a little bit.
I've seen them live and they're really good.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I
they're
don't
a great
know who
live
that
band.
is.
it's just
Seven
some
Dust, they were
band.
like a new metal band in the early
Yeah, it doesn't
2000s.
matter. They're all the same.
They're like really popular now. Like for some reason, like they always tour. Like they're never not touring. Everyone loves Seven Dust for some reason. All my friends who are like musicians, like that's like one of their favorite bands. I don't understand.
So Lois.
So Lois, she steps on the scale and she sees that her scale is 200 pounds, and she says, "That's twice what I used to be."
And she's like trying to use the
Yeah.
phone, but she found out she's not thin enough to use the phone.
She needs one of those dialing wands, like on The Simpsons.
I already went over these. Let's move on.
She's got to wash
So
herself with a
awkward.
rag on a stick.
So awkward.
All right. Yeah, so she decides, well, I guess I gotta shop at the fat girl's shop from now on.
This is a
and-
fat kid's store. I'm thinking of Bobby Hill when they got to take him
Yeah.
shopping.
Oh, H. Dumpty's?
H.
Dumpty.
That's
She's
a good
fucking
store.
going to H. Dumpty's.
That's a great episode.
You know, if
That's-
this was
that's
nowadays, though, she would become a model.
Yeah. And you
She'd be
can't
a
tell her no.
lingerie model now.
Yeah.
No.
I'm with her.
Instead, she gets out of the store, realizes Superman is close by, and asks a car with two other overweight people in it. Overweight by the comic standards.
Sure.
And it
You're not
breaks
on
the
trial.
car when she gets in.
Yeah, the axle snaps.
The axle snaps. It's also worth noting this whole time, Lois doesn't really care if other people see her this way, just specifically if Superman sees her that
Right.
way.
And including Clark Kent. She's 100% okay with Clark
Yeah.
Kent seeing
Well,
her
she doesn't
this
see
way.
him as a man at all.
Right.
Does not respect him as a male. No. So Superman decides to help out and actually does his first kind of good deed of the entire book. And he picks up this car with the broken axle and he says, I'll fly you to the garage, but I can't pick up the whole thing with all three of you in there, so I'll hold one of you under my arm like a piggy.
Yeah. And then pretty much calls her a piggy.
He does. He puts her down. So, all right, so he puts down Lois, not knowing it's Lois. And he says
Even
to
though
her,
he's the one that made her this size.
Right. He knows everything that's going on, but I guess he's got to keep the act up. So he says to her, for no reason, this doesn't help anybody. He says, I must say a girl like you is quite a load. I'm more used to flying Lois Lane around. You would make two of her. Why is he...
For
why
the
is he-
record, I'm making a lot of fat jokes. I used to be a fat guy. Like I've been a fat guy before, so I know what
Right.
this. And it does feel horrible, like when people look at you when you're a fat person and they make you feel bad. I understand.
Sure. Yeah, you shouldn't make people feel bad for something that they didn't necessarily have any control over. I'm not making those jokes. I'm laughing at the book itself.
That's probably why I have a really unhealthy attitude about food and exercise.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Probably why. It's just that and my father telling me never trust a man whose ass is wider than his shoulders.
Yep. I guess you don't need a therapist anymore. You're
I'm
cured.
aware. I'm aware of what the problems are.
I'm aware of it. I just refuse to do anything about
Well,
it.
they're just gonna. We're gonna come to the same conclusions.
All right. So Superman, and he's got a shit-eating grin on his face when he's
Yeah,
telling
because he's
Lois
like,
this,
I
too.
did this to you.
Yeah.
Like he knows this whole plot. God, what a dick. So yeah, Lois goes to the office and they make fun of her and they say she's going to need a stronger chair. Completely inappropriate.
I do say she needs a stronger chair.
Yeah.
So like Superman's looking at her like so this when this all happened, it's like she witnesses a murder and Superman goes, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for me to turn her fat as shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like he'd planned to do it for a while, but he didn't have a good excuse. Like he was looking
Yeah.
for an in.
Superman
like-
and the feeder fetish.
If she's like doubled in size, wouldn't her organs also be twice as big? Isn't that really
Well,
unhealthy?
apparently it does double her appetite as well because she gets a box of chocolates from Superman because she
Yes.
forgot her own birthday and eats them all.
Like, you know what's funny? He knows that she's freaking out about being overweight, and he
Yep.
sends her a
He
box
sends
of
her a
chocolates
box.
for
Yeah,
her
he's fucking
birthday.
with her.
What a dick!
Yeah.
Like he is. I tell you what, his real superpower is his super sense of humor.
Yes. Someday people are really going to appreciate this.
Well, he doesn't need to impress anyone. He's
When
doing this for
humans-
himself.
When humans have evolved further, they'll understand my hilarious pranks.
He could just grab 3 pieces of coal and make giant diamonds for her, but he gave her
just-
a box of
yeah.
like fucking Russells.
It's a big box.
I just want to tell Lois that it's resistance exercises are going to help her lose weight more than cardio.
I don't know, man.
Well,
I lose
Superman not fucking with her is going to make her lose weight.
I'm
I
just
don't know,
saying,
man.
like,
Even I'm not a heavy guy, and I'll run for an hour and lose like 2.5 pounds.
I'm just saying, like, if you want to lose a shit ton of body fat, resistance exercises are the way to go.
I don't know. She tries it. She's working out on the stationary bike. She's controlling her diet. She's doing all this stuff, but it just ain't working. Or at least it is starting to work until she gets Superman's chocolate gift.
I like how she's like 100 pounds overweight, and she thinks that she can lose that weight in a few weeks.
Well, I mean, she put it on overnight.
That's true.
So, like, who knows what kind of weight this is? Like, maybe it's very inflated.
Why didn't she just wait until the guy came up with the antidote?
He said it was going to take. Oh yeah, we skipped over that point.
A month.
The guy said it's going to take a month for me to develop an antidote. So also, in addition to all of this, Superman didn't have an antidote ready for this.
Was she not working out previously?
She probably was. but
She
no.
doesn't look like she's a fat lady. Look at the definition of her shoulders.
Yeah.
And the definition on her legs and forearms.
She looks like Ma Hunkel, the original
She's
Red
like
Tornado.
power lifting.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's setting records.
Yeah. So it turns out that the previous year, Superman had given her a bracelet that has a space jewel in it that will click when kryptonite is nearby, and she can barely get the thing on or off her wrist anymore.
Well, she doesn't take it off ever, and now it's stuck on.
Yeah.
I mean, are we to understand that he doesn't have this? Like, he seems like he should have that
Yeah.
on him at all
Yeah,
times.
gave away
absolutely.
well, he likes the thrill. I might be exposed to kryptonite. I might not. We'll see.
What if it doesn't actually click? He just told her that it does that.
Oh, there's no kryptonite around here either. Thank you, Lois.
Thanks, Lois. You're really helpful in my life.
Very
Well,
good. Very glad to have you around.
It turns out it does work, though, because Lois has to be in this wedding that she completely forgot about because
Right.
she's forgotten everything in her life at this
Yeah, her
point. 'cause
brain's
she
too
gained
fat.
weight.
So Lois has to be at this wedding. Superman is also at the wedding for no reason.
As
No, 'cause
Superman.
it's like the police captain's daughter. So all the people in the city, blah blah blah.
How did he get an invitation?
Yeah, where'd they send it?
Yeah, Clark
Fortress
Kent's
of
house, I
Solitude.
guess.
Wrote it in the sky? Yeah, this is just...
Here's my address.
The amount of things that Superman does in a day that aren't fighting crime is incredible.
He hands his card. It's Clark Kent's address. He goes, isn't this where Clark Kent lives? He goes, yeah, we're roommates.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
That's why,
He gets my mail.
that's why I go into work for him
Well,
sometimes.
There was a point in the John Byrne Superman run where Lois suspected that Clark and Superman were the same person, went and talked to Ma and Pa Kent, and they had to come up with a story. So they said, actually, yeah, we did raise Superman alongside Clark. They're like brothers, but we don't tell the public that.
That is fucking suspicious.
And
Yeah.
she bought it for a little while, yeah.
So,
there
not
was a
only is
point
Lois
where-
the fattest woman in Metropolis, she's also the dumbest and the most gullible.
Good lord, yeah.
It took a while to give her brassiness and put her in a position where she could really take care of herself. Yeah.
Yeah. So after she gets outed as a fat woman,
Yeah.
it's suddenly, after all of the stressing, after pages of her freaking out about Superman seeing her this way, he finally does, and then she enjoys the rest of the wedding.
You're missing the section here where the ring that is being presented to
Oh, yeah.
the bride apparently is kryptonite.
It has
Because
her kryptonite in the box.
her bracelet starts clicking, and Lois is like, well, if I say anything about it, then Superman's going to know that it's me, Lois Lane, but otherwise he's going to die.
She grabs
And
it,
she
but
really thinks.
but she realizes that Superman's the one who did this to her, so she throws it at his face.
She doesn't know yet. She doesn't know that yet.
You did this to me!
She blows her cover and tosses the kryptonite away, and then the wedding just resumes. And you would think maybe Superman should have followed up on that.
I can just see Lois like doing cleans, just really like popping that weight up.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what are you doing? Cleans? Is that what you call showering?
Yeah, clean and jerk,
Yeah, clean and jerk. Yeah, you're hitting that weight.
Yeah.
Like she's just one rep maxing all day.
Yeah. Well, she does get a little cardio in. She catches the bouquet. But
yeah, because she's so big, she's just manhandling all the other bridesmaids.
She's pushed everyone out of the way.
She's elbows some girl in the face.
No, that's how you make yourself an attractive bride.
She's just generating a lot of power.
Yeah. Hey, can't blame her. She's using what she's got.
If she's twice as big, her muscles are twice as big.
So she catches the bouquet and says, well, Superman's never going to marry me anyway, so it doesn't matter that I got the bouquet.
Her tits are so much bigger now. Jesus.
Yeah. She walks by a freak show, and the guy comes out and says, hey, if you put on a few more pounds, I'll give you the job as a freak in the show here. And instead of saying, hey, fuck you, buddy, she says, no thanks.
It's funny. I bet Superman put him up to that.
Yeah, he paid him off for this.
Seriously,
it might be Superman. It might be Superman in disguise.
He's like, hey, so there's going to be a big fat lady walking by. I want you to offer her a job as a fat lady. He goes, I can't do that. That'd be really mean. He goes, you're going to do it. You're going to do it, or I'm going to throw you into space. He has his fat ray. He's like, how would you like to be a big fat guy? Huh?
Just takes that ray with him.
I'm loving like insane, nefarious Superman.
Superman, he really did a lot of damage to his reputation in the 50s. This
He
kind of
doesn't
behavior.
care. What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, apparently absolutely nothing.
The only thing they had to stop him was that kryptonite wedding ring, and Lois took care of
Lois
that.
took care of that. So now Superman's going knocking over flags at the UN, just doing whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
So Lois sees the Hall of Mirrors, and she laments that she doesn't look the way she used to. And then there's this random dude, this Weasley guy in a fedora, who sees her in the reflection, the distorted mirror, and realizes
recognizes her.
He recognizes her. He goes, "Oh, I've been looking all over for Lois Lane, and I haven't found her, but I see that you're her. I'm that unassuming dude who you couldn't describe from the beginning of the story."
Hey, remember the beginning of the story? That was me.
Remember me? I was murdering that guy.
Yeah,
you probably
remember how
don't
the
remember.
story about being overweight started with a murder?
You probably don't remember because you put on 100 pounds because of Superman's crazy ray. But
He's like, hey, am I too short to remember now? He pulls his gun out. MGTOW.
he pulls his gun and he starts shooting her, and he says, "Why are my bullets missing you? You're such a big target," which is fucking cruel.
And and then from behind the mirror, Superman says, she's so fat, her fat is just soaking up the bullets.
No, cruel, wrong. Superman's been annihilating the bullets with his laser vision.
Which means that he could have just protected her this entire time.
Yep, this was
He could have
never a
gone to the
problem.
wedding with her.
Yeah, he could have done any of these things. He could have just lived his normal life.
And she goes, Superman, you saved me. He goes, not yet. And he hits her with the ray again, making her twice as big.
Now it's going to take 2 months.
No, instead he finally admits that he's a piece of shit, and she gets mad, and her way of getting back at him is by forcing him to pay for dinner.
And he's watching her, and he's watching her eat as a big fat lady, and he's just jacking off.
So now the reasoning here was that he didn't want the killer to recognize her. Hang on, I want to make this story make sense. He didn't want the killer to be able to recognize her until he was ready for him to recognize her?
Right.
Like,
how did he know they were going to run into each other?
Is Superman just setting those distortion mirrors all over town?
Superman knew that eventually, because remember, there was that big headline announcing that Lois Lane saw him.
Right.
That he would eventually try to kill Lois.
Right.
So Superman decided, well, Lois needs to be disguised, and the best way for me to do this is to destroy her psyche.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then the guy does come back and starts looking for her.
How is Superman planning to find this guy?
How did that guy know to find
he
her
was
in front of a
waiting-
carnival?
Well, he was waiting. We're ignoring Superman's super hearing in this instance. He was waiting for the guy to make a move on Lois. He's been watching Lois.
Right. But if he's not recognizing Lois, when was he going to make the move? He was never going to recognize Lois when she was big.
They would have to run into each other in front of that funhouse mirror. What are the odds of that?
Again, I guess Superman is just manufacturing these situations all
Plot
throughout town.
holes galore.
He did all of this. He put the guy up to commit the murder at that time.
Yeah, he
made sure
committed
Lois.
the murder.
He made sure Lois was driving down the road at that exact
Yeah,
time.
he Spengoli'd this shit.
He made the Fat Ray years ago, waiting
Mm-hmm.
for the perfect time to use it.
He drove Perry White out of his mind, so he started running his newspaper like a crazy person.
He's been writing fashion articles.
Yeah.
He's destroyed Metropolis at the end of this, God, thank God, end of this comic.
Just so he could watch Lois eat a big meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of snickering about it. He takes her out to eat, and we see Lois doesn't understand how metabolism works because she says, well, since you're going to de-plumpify me tomorrow, I can just eat as much as I want right now.
They shrink her, and all that food in her stomach just
Yeah.
causes her to explode.
I was thinking more of how she just starts throwing up all night.
Yeah,
Both
it's
ends.
Still, like you still have a functioning esophagus. Like,
It looks like he's like putting his pinky in his own mouth,
oh, I'm such a little stinker.
watching her
No,
eat.
he's into this.
He's like, there goes
She's
my check.
participating in his kink.
It's like an OnlyFans situation because he's like complaining about losing all of his money on this meal.
All right, that's
All
the
of
end of
this
book.
just to get this ending.
Yep. That's you could say the same thing about this entire month.
Superman should just date a fat chick and watch her eat. If this is all pretty elaborate.
No, he wanted somebody with a job they were bad at. So that's the end of this. This was a boring, shitty comic. Even beyond the problematic content of it. It was just a bad comic. What do we think of this?
I love the problematic content. Like I can't help it. I got too much of the edgelord in me.
It wasn't even problematic
This was
enough.
the worst of the Superman books. By far.
Absolutely.
Because the week one was my favorite, with two
Yeah.
Supermen solving all the problems.
The other books were stellar. Shea, what'd you think of this?
This was a bad book.
Yeah. 1 out of 5 invasions of privacy. Yep. So that's it.
That's the
That's
end
it
of
for Supermanuary.
Supermanuary. It's done.
Yeah.
Kanan's so hot, feeling so good.
It was great.
In like a lion, out like a lamb.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can talk about what we're doing next time.
Yeah, we
What
gotta
are
take
we
a
doing? Shit.
Spinning. And
Take a week to
spinning
recover,
and
finally.
Spinning. Ooh,
Good
is this
Lord.
week's song Superman or spinning?
It is a Superman song. We do have one last Superman song for the wheel. So I think what we decided we were going to do is a request next episode.
We
Yeah.
haven't done a request in like a year.
Well, we've got a handful of items on the request wheel. I'm really hoping this Billy Ray Cyrus comic we were talking about shows up.
Finally.
It might.
We've got Journey into Mystery. We've got Dark Hawk #1. I don't know who requested that, but I think we did the last Dark Hawk.
We did.
So we'd be bookending it. The New Guardians. We've got Green Hornet, Journey into Mystery. So lots of good things on the wheel.
Yep.
As always, we listen to a little spinning music, or at least we normally would. But this month we've been listening to Superman-based songs from my personal life. Because there's just so many goddamn Superman songs. So we've been working reverse chronologically, and here we've come to the end. I was probably, I don't know, maybe 12, maybe 13 years old. And in lieu of having an actual job, my father would hang out at flea markets, and I would sometimes go along, and I'd look for pretty much two and only two things. I'd look for comic books, and I'd look for CDs. And that's all I would do at the flea markets. So I picked up a CD at a flea market, and it goes a little something like this.
Oh, I know that. Dark
Yep.
Side's Couch's favorite band.
They're the Spin Doctors are the house band for Dark
They
Side's Couch.
are.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Olsen's Blues, which is a song about how Jimmy Olsen is willing to murder Superman in order to steal Lois Lane from him.
It's pretty great.
That is the context of the song. He has a pocket full of kryptonite so that he can murder Superman.
Yeah,
and
fuck
he
that
means
guy.
dat dick.
He probably just saw what he did to her.
Yeah, he's a problematic guy. I don't know. Has that ever worked when you've just like taken out the other love interest and you just win the woman from that? I don't know that that's ever happened, but every man seems to think that's a real thing.
I guess.
Yeah. Spin Doctor's spinning up them hits.
Oh, well, let's spin the wheel.
Well, I guess that does kind of work. You know what, Shée? It's not only a Superman song, it's also a spinning song.
What a
Yeah.
Supermanuary miracle.
It worked out perfectly.
Finally
Yeah.
to end on something good. Now spin it.
Here we go. Let's see what we're doing.
Let's find out what happens. What are we doing next?
Okay.
Oh.
So-
okay.
Now, there might be Superman in this, so
Looks like we haven't gotten away from Superman yet.
So it's Justice League issue 5 from our buddy Jay Miller requested this.
Hey!
You know what? This might
Yeah.
be Justice League International.
Our wonderful
Woo!
logo maker.
Okay. Yeah, he did make our logo. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So-
I know what this is.
Yes, Shea, do you want to mention what this is?
This is Justice League International.
Is it international? Yeah, I guess it
Well,
is. It's just not
it
called
is
that yet.
before. It's,
yeah, they hadn't titled
but still,
it.
it's the Giffen, it's the Jamatis, it's the Gordon, or not the Gordon. I'm sorry, it's the McGuire.
Oh, this is the famous
It's-
comic where Batman punches out Green Lantern.
Yeah. This is one punch. This is
Oh,
one
one
punch.
punch.
I wasn't gonna say it because I wanted it to be a surprise, like for the comic.
Nope.
But that's why I said, "Oh, I know what this is. It's
No
one
surprises.
punch.
It's on the
one
cover.
punch."
All right. Yeah. So on this cover here, we've got Captain Marvel, you know him as Shazam now, and the Martian Manhunter holding back Guy Gardner because he's angry with his barber for giving him a stupid haircut.
Yeah.
That's super. That haircut came back though. Now it's
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it gives you drip.
You can have a bowl haircut now. That
No,
vest,
you
too.
can't. You can't. You're not fucking. Was it Oliver Tree? What the fuck?
What?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
It's a
I don't know.
musician.
Yeah.
He's also got.
But
a-
anyway, yes. So, oh man, if I'm wrong now about this being one punch, I'm gonna be really
No, it
mad.
is.
But I
I'm
was about to
pretty
say,
sure
but
you're right.
I'm almost certain
because
this is one
it
punch.
even says Batman versus Guy Gardner showdown.
And it says it
Yeah.
had to happen.
Well,
Yeah.
and honestly,
Wasn't it?
I
Waiting
was
on it
more
for 4
thinking about
months.
the fact that I have the Justice League International Omnibus Volume 1, and the
Courtesy
one
of
punch
James.
page, courtesy of James. Thank you, James.
Mm-hmm.
And the one punch page, if you open up the book, it will almost just instinctively fall open to it.
It's one of my
I'll
favorite animes.
I'll say I am vaguely familiar with the run, but I have not read these issues, so this is a new one for me. I know the panel, I know that bit, but that's all I really know.
Oh man, I don't have to read anything this week. Fuck yeah!
No, read the. God damn it!
You guys
You
been reading
guys-
the books?
Always looking for ways to cut corners on this show. All right.
No, I'm excited. This. See, the wheel provides,
The wheel does
The wheel
generally
provides.
provide.
and there's no Superman in this.
I don't think there is.
No, in
probably
Justice
not.
League International, there was no Superman.
Because I believe like they tossed them a bone and let them borrow Batman for a while because they needed some heavy hitter. They needed one big guy, and so like you can have Batman kind of shepherd things for a bit.
Guy
Yeah.
with no powers.
Well, and then they kind of fill in that role with Shazam.
Okay.
It's weird they stopped calling him Captain Marvel and they gave him a name that he can't say out loud without taking away his powers.
No, he can say it now. He just has to say it with intent in order
Oh
to
my
change his
God.
powers. Well, what
Oh,
else are you gonna
lame.
do? What the hell else are you gonna do?
Lame.
Keep calling him Captain Marvel, I guess.
Well, I'm
Well, then you
excited
can't-
for this.
You
Thank
can't put
you,
the
Jay.
name of the character on the cover of your book.
I mean, like, he's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, okay, fine, but then you can never call a book Captain Marvel or put Captain Marvel's name on the cover of a book. That's kind of a little tough.
Why not?
Because that's the agreement with Marvel Comics is that you can continue calling him Captain Marvel, but you cannot put that on the cover of a
Why?
book.
They came up with it first.
It doesn't matter. I don't know, man. The history of Captain
That was
Marvel.
it. Yeah, and there's another Captain Marvel in all of this that isn't related to either
no.
of them.
There's way more. There's Miracle Man, who was known as Marvel Man until they changed it. There's a book called The Poison Chalice that goes into all of this. It's ungodly convoluted how this
Yeah.
works. At one point, though, Captain Marvel / Shazam, whatever you want to call him, was outselling Superman, and that's really the reason that DC got upset and had to shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean Marvel,
So-
but still.
No. DC. DC
Oh,
originally sued
Captain Marvel.
because
Oh,
Captain
yeah,
Marvel
yeah.
was so clearly a Superman knockoff. They're like, dude, you can't keep doing this.
Yeah, I
You're
understand
putting
what
us
you're
out of
saying
business.
now.
And then the Marvel, it's an incredibly convoluted story.
Yeah. So.
But
But this one isn't.
Nope, this is just silly fun. So a nice breath of fresh air after the heavy and intensely serious comic books that we've been reading all of Supermanuary. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I feel pretty good.
Yep.
Thank
I
you.
do
It's a
too.
good
Survived
end. We can move on. We got, and I can't wait till Batman makes Guy Gardner fat as shit.
with his
Yeah.
with his bat ray.
Yep.
But if you're going to be missing Superman next week, why don't you just go back and listen to our previous Superman episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast app you're using right now, unless it sucks, and then switch to a different one. And be sure to subscribe to us while you're there. And you can also listen at darksidescouch.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Darksides Couch, all one word.
I recommend the YouTube. We're putting up funny little videos and such here and there, or at least I'm trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of little clips and bits and pieces on there that we kind of throw up there. So that's probably the way to go.
You can follow along.
Follow along at home. You got nothing else to do.
Nope, you sure don't.
You're Supermaning your life, just looking for shit to do.
Yep.
All right, I think that's it. We're done. Thanks for listening to Supermanuary.
Make sure to donate to James's charitable cause.
Yes. I'll be running the marathon in October, the Chicago Marathon, raising money for the Organization for Autism Research. You can find the link in the description below. Anybody got any final thoughts about Supermanuary or this comic, or really just your life in general?
Just remember that if you want to lose weight, the best way to burn fat is to build muscle, because it takes a lot of calories to maintain muscle.
That's true. Shée, what do you got?
Burn down the patriarchy.
Ta-ta for now, Cushion Crusaders. We'll talk to you next time on the couch.
White speaking.
Chief, this is Kent. What's happened to Lois?
Kent?
She's real fat. You ought to see her. It's like a goddamn hippopotamus.